here's what happens with digital marketing, right? A lot of times the ads work. All the ads job is to do is get them to a landing page or get them to your website. Then it's the website's job to convert them, right? And so a lot of times we'll go in and we'll look at their digital marketing and they're like, oh, your CPC is low, you're getting lots of visitors, you're getting traction, but once they get to your website, they're coming off. That means it's not the digital marketing, it's the website.
Welcome to the Clear Brand Academy podcast, where we take the mystery out of marketing and help you get more leads and sales with a clear brand and proven marketing tactics. I'm your host, Josh Ramsey, and today on the show we have Jack Christensen. Jack started as a marketing freelancer in June of 2021, and as of December 2022, he has grown a web development and marketing agency operating in 2 countries with 26 full-time employees. Before starting this, he was homeless and forced to move to Mexico to save money. Welcome to the show, Jack. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me, Josh. I'm excited to talk about some marketing and things for your show.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, we can't go anywhere until we give a bit of airtime to that last line of your intro. That is, I always think I was chatting with, let's say, a more mature person in their 80s the other day, and I said, what did you do with your life? And I was like, I was a nurse, and then I was a secretary, and then I had a family, and now I'm here. And it's, that's what comes to mind with this kind of line. So many experiences, so much context there. Do you want to give us the kind of high level of why that's important to keep in your show notes? I think that's a nice angle to take on it.
Sure. So as you stated, I had to come to Mexico. I mean, I didn't have to, but I thought that was my best choice to make it, right? So I was, at the time I was homeless. And it's cheaper living here than it is in the US. And so, I had a skill set. And so I had just enough money, and actually my girlfriend at the time actually helped me buy a computer, but I had just enough money between her and I to buy a computer, and I had a skill set of web development and some logo design that I knew if I applied myself, I could find clients and work. But when I start, you can't really make very much money when you start, so I figure I need to be somewhere where rent's cheaper and things like that because I couldn't afford to live in the US. And so I came down to Mexico. I had been living homeless for about 3 months at that time, but I did have a car. So it wasn't, I was homeless on the street. I had a car, so I was able to sleep in the car and things like that. And I came to Mexico, and when I first started this, I was just a freelancer on Upwork. I think I did my first logo. Actually, not I think, I know. Did my first logo. He's still a client to this day for Endgame Box and Fit. I paid him. He paid me, I think, $5 for his first logo. He's done a couple reiterations, but if you look at Endgame Boxing and Fitness, that logo was one that I personally did not one of my employees. So that's where it all started, man.
Yeah, man, that's a great story. It's a great reminder to any of you out there that are in a version of that, in a version of looking cold hard reality in the face. And having to kind of take a swing and go for it and just get up again. I've got a 2-year-old daughter, and every time she falls down, which is incredibly frequently, what do we do when we fall down? We get up and we try again. So congrats for getting up and trying again. Congrats for supporting 26 families out there. We at Clear Brand believe that entrepreneurs change the world. But what we are here to talk about is those initial skills that you had with that laptop that got you a client and now a big business. So, I think, what is it like to be now in the position where you've got 26 employees? If you had to nail down 3 things that you think helped you grow this business to where it's at now, don't have to stay at 3, but some kind of simple framework or some kind of simple takeaway, what do you think got you from where we started this conversation to where you are today?
Well, I think number 1 is perseverance. And the reason I say that, I got to backtrack even past before I came to Mexico. This is the 3rd iteration of me trying to do this. So this is the 3rd agency that I've started, and it's the only one that didn't fail in the first 6 months. So perseverance is huge because there are going to be really tough times. There are going to be times where you have to make really tough decisions. And during those times, it's very easy, especially it would have been very easy for me to go get a sales job because I'm a killer sales guy. And it would have been very easy for me to quit, bow out, and just go work for someone else. So you're going to have the grit and the determination to keep going in those times. Then as like piggyback on that would be number 2 is sales. So you have to be, as an entrepreneur, you have to be a salesperson, or you have to partner with someone who can sell. Yeah. So I just didn't want partners, and that's not what I wanted. And so you have to sell. You have to be able to sell your product. And in order to sell your product, number 3 is that you have to believe in your product or service. And so I knew that I had the capabilities and the skill set to deliver on the things I was selling. So it made me come off even more genuine when I was selling, right? And now that's only increased, because now looking back, I'm a terrible web developer. At the time I thought I was good, but looking back, I'm terrible, and now my team is amazing. So number 1 is perseverance, number 2 is sales, learn how to sell, and then number 3 is believe in the product or service that you're selling.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, it's that's a big thing to have happen. Well, firstly, grade 3, perseverance, knowing how to sell and how to do that, and then of course believing in what you're doing. At Clearbrand, one of the first questions we ask clients is, is your product great? Is it exceptional? Are you very good at what you do? Because that's we're going to have a lot of marketing waste if that's not the case. In terms of this really believing in your product, what is it that you've focused on that have really made you an expert? What is the piece of digital marketing? What would you say is the biggest magnet that your clients have towards you?
Right now, our biggest magnet is our web development. We've built some crazy good websites that are built perfect for SEO, for Google to rank you. But we're moving away from that. So I've hired, my new CTO is an absolute genius at SEO. And so our model is changing a little bit. Instead of just doing one-off web development projects, what we're doing is we're doing web development as a upfront cash infusion, which is really nice. And then we sell them on digital marketing or SEO or a package of both. For monthly recurring revenue. And now we're getting a lot of traction in SEO. Excuse me. And as these other clients that we're getting, in fact, we just signed a national commercial construction company. They do like $100 million a year, and they just signed us for a year for SEO. We have a few clients that paid up front for a year, and that are large clients. And as those are scaling and those are being successful, our SEO department is growing by far the quickest now. Okay,
so take me through the skill set that you've mentioned your CTO, and I'm trying to find that sweet spot for our listeners of what you're going to really dig into here. So your CTO would know a lot about SEO, so we're not going to go there. You the CEO is what I read in the. And your skill set then primarily now, what do you think it is that you've really leaned into that's catalyzing this growth?
My skill set is sales. So I'm building a sales team.
Okay.
My technical skills are a lot less. I hire people that are much better. I know enough to break things, basically.
Okay. Well, tell me then about sales, because I think, every business, when we work with our clients, the number one metric that we have is sales, right? Marketing is if it's not selling at the end of the day, if you're not kind of getting that income back in. So how do you approach sales, and do you have a framework? How do you approach building? How do you approach looking at sales, and then hopefully we've got enough time to get into actually building that team, because I know that's a whole different ball game as well. So how do you approach sales?
So I can't talk about one without talking about the other, and here's why.
Okay.
All of my sales guys are end-to-end salespeople, meaning they have to develop and cultivate their own leads and then sell them. Okay. And so the reason I can't talk about an entire pipeline without talking about the sales team is because every person that I hire is good at different things. So something we've had a lot of success with is LinkedIn Sales Navigator for lead generation. But I got another guy, Aaron, who is incredible at just going out on the street and talking to businesses, right? And so whatever the sales guys tell me they're strong at, that's what they do. So Now, we can talk about building that sales team in a second, but I just want to clarify that the lead gen comes from whatever they want to do. And then what happens once they're in the pipeline, then it becomes the same. So once we take a lead from not knowing us to being an actual lead in the pipeline, right?
Yep.
Now we can talk about the sales process.
Let's do that. That sounds great.
Absolutely. So once they're in the sales pipeline, they've had the initial meeting. So basically what happens, which has been really nice, is our sales cycle is a lot shorter than when I started this business, what I thought it would be. A lot of times we close them on the first call, even if it's for 20, 30 grand, which has been awesome. So the sales pipeline is this. They get in touch somehow. There is communication prior to the meeting. I don't want them to go from nothing to meeting right away. There's communication. They're building rapport. They're talking a little bit about a company. We put out multiple blog articles a week. So sometimes if they think it will help, they'll send that. They'll just build some rapport for about a week. Then the goal is to get them on a Google Meet. Once they're on Google Meet, and some of my sales guys use Zoom, but we try to use Google Meet. Once you're on Google Meet, the process is fairly straightforward. It's, because you've already built that rapport, you know what that business needs. And so our sales process generally starts selling a website. And the reason we say, hey, you should buy a website from us before we talk about digital marketing, because here's what happens with digital marketing, right? A lot of times the ads work. All the ads job is to do is get them to a landing page or get them to your website. Then it's the website's job to convert them, right? And so a lot of times we'll go in and we'll look at their digital marketing and they're like, oh, your CPC is low, you're getting lots of visitors, you're getting traction, but once they get to your website, they're coming off. That means it's not the digital marketing, it's the website. And so we have guarantees in our digital marketing, positive ROAS guarantees. And the only way we can do that is if we built the website, because then we know it converts. And
absolutely.
So we get on the Google Meet. And then we walk them through, why we're good. We show them all. We have different slides and stuff that we show them why we're better than the others.
And what you've done. Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you customize that presentation to the specific business?
I tell the sales guys to do that when I do them. Yes. But I'm very hands off, and my sales team is very competitive because I pay extremely well. And so I let them do what they want, and if they can't do it, then they're gone. And so I am not a micromanager of salespeople or of anyone.
Yeah, for sure.
So they should be. The answer is they should be customizing that because they should have built a rapport to know what the customer needs.
Yeah, and I appreciate that candor and like what we want versus what is happening as two different things. So okay, so then they're in that presentation. You're saying you're getting a high percentage of clients that are closing in that meeting. I'm sure that is music to the ears of marketing agencies that are listening to this, or even in businesses that are looking for clients. Is there any kind of system that you've found, that you've iterated upon, that the results are kind of proving that you're leaning into something that's really excellent that you could share with us?
It's not the system; it's the offer.
Okay.
If your offer is good enough, people will buy immediately. If the offer is good enough and they believe what you're saying that the offer is, right? So they have to have that trust, which is why the rapport building is important. And then the offer has to be such that they'd feel stupid not to buy.
Yeah. And in that offer, is that you just standing on the shoulders of work that you've done? No. The price points, is there some hidden juice that I'm missing here?
Yes.
Is it cash flow because you're in Mexico, or what's the?
It's the guarantees. We're the only agency that offers guarantees on every single one of our services. And they're not just guarantees, hey, we guarantee we'll do it. It's, hey, we guarantee we'll do it. And if we don't, we're going to give you your money back. And so what that looks like for web design is our bronze and gold package, which are our lower two. We have three packages. So the bottom two are based on CMS development, WordPress, Shopify, things like that, right? And so we guarantee a 30-day build time. If we don't complete it in 30 days, you get your money back. Now, there are caveats in the contract. Like, it's unlimited revisions because it's a custom website, but for that 30 days, you only get 3 revisions because otherwise people could game the system, right?
No, I get it. Yeah.
And then for our platinum, which is completely custom built, could be React, Vue, Angular, depends on what they need. Our team will sit down with their team, and that's a much more expensive package. So generally, they have a dedicated team already. That's because that starts at $27,500. And so for that one, we talk to them about their needs, what they're going to have, and how long. And then we're going to figure out how long it's going to take. Then we'll give them a date. Generally, it's 3 to 4 months out. Once that date is there, then it's set in stone. If we don't complete it by that date, same thing, they get their money back. And then SEO,
and then I
we
think
guarantee
easier to do in the SEO space. Yeah.
Yeah, we just guarantee rankings, and digital marketing, we guarantee ROAS. But we do turn away clients if we think we either turn them away or we say, hey, we can't enact the guarantee with you because for example, one of the most common ways we don't do a guarantee is if someone wants digital marketing from us but doesn't want to pay us for a website, they have to have a website built by us, or we have to thoroughly vet their website so we know that will sell.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, I think that sounds like a great way to reduce friction in that purchase process. There's all those guarantees in place. Okay, so I think there's great value. Is there anything else you want to talk about in the sales process and your team and how you've set it up there? Because I'm interested in kind of the greater setup of your team, and are they freelancers? Are they in-house? Did you go virtual assistants?
Well, that's the other thing. That's another part that we sell on is everybody's in-house. We don't contract. Yeah. We don't do any VA. We do have remote employees, but they're all full-time employed by us. And so that's when we sell on. But I do want to touch on the sales team because I think that's important. It's one of the things that gave me exponential growth is being able to build an effective sales team.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I do, and this is, I don't know if you're familiar with Alex Ramsey, but this is something that he talks about and I got from him, is every quarter I cut the bottom 10 to 20% of my sales guys. Like I'm still landing on a figure. I haven't. Some quarters. I tell them before. I say, hey, going into this next quarter in January. So January through March. In March, I tell them, hey, at the end of March, I'm going to cut the bottom 20%, and that's what they. So in March, 20% of my sales guys are going to be let go, and it's all just based on the numbers they did that quarter.
Yeah. I mean, that's the game they're in, and they know that at sign up, and better that they know it at sign up. They kind of, and I guess there's the equivalent carrot with that stick. I'd imagine you mentioned that you do remunerate very well, and that's what you got to do to attract great talent. How do you vet salesmen who, there's this line between charisma and actually delivering? Is there anything that? Okay.
I give almost everyone a shot because I don't. When I first started, I paid base, but what I found was I'd get when I paid base. Which I can do, but the problem is when I've paid base, I get people who just are not as competitive as what I'm trying to build. They can be really good at selling SaaS software for other places, and they had a large base and all that, but it's just not the culture. I come from car sales and cell phone sales, and that's the culture I want. And as such, those guys are used to earning 2 to 4% commission. I pay 15%. And I tell people, listen, your quota is $100K a month, so you should be earning $15,000 a month. And if you're not within 6 months, you're going to be let go anyway. So all my salespeople, once they've been here for 6 months, they're earning $15,000 or more a month.
Yeah.
So
that'll get the right people in the room.
Well, and that's it. And so I don't vet people. I'm like, listen, I don't handhold. I do when you set appointments. So my whole training process is this. They set their first 5 appointments. Me and them are on the sales call. I'm closing. They still get their full commission. I'm sorry. The second 5, we're both on the phone call. They're closing. I'm listening. And we're recording all these so we can train later. But and then after that, they're on their own. And so I tell them, listen, I'll set you up with a phone line. I'll set you up with an email. But you're on your own. You got to get the leads. There's no warm leads. There's no anything. You just get the email and you get the phone and go sell. And if you can do it, you're going to make a ridiculous amount of money. I mean, this is something that if you're really good and you're a killer, you can make $500K a year or more at. And especially because every 3 months I'm also upping our prices, and so that means our salespeople can earn more and more.
Yeah.
And so. There's a lot of opportunity here. And so having that, and then having the culture of, I run contests like today, any sales that come through today, they're getting a $500 bonus that's paid immediately, not paid on their paycheck. So like there's a whole bunch of things. We're going to do vacation giveaways for next year. And I want to give away a Tesla as well. I haven't for sure decided on that, but 2023, we're for sure doing a vacation giveaway. And I think I'm going to do a Tesla giveaway.
Wow. Well, you might start hearing the phone ring on getting that sales team a little bit larger as soon as word gets out that this is how you're approaching, and I think it's fantastic. That and there's such potential there for scaling and because you're not hand-holding and you're attracting the right kind of individuals, they can go out and get the job done. Do they require any team around them to help them to do this so they can focus on what it is that they need to do? Or
and so I have assistants who they schedule through that work in the office. Like my main assistant, who all sales go through her, or all sales meetings go through her if I'm on. Excuse me. And we do 2 daily meetings for sales. Because I need to push them and tell them about contests and all this kind of stuff, and I figure out where everyone's at and keep everyone motivated. Man, sometimes when a new sales guy gets a sale, I'll be like, all right, go grab a bottle of whiskey. We're both taking a shot, right? Like virtually, because all my sales guys are virtual. Like, and so I'm very much there. I'm just not hand-holding like, here's a lead, now do this, and right. Like, it's not like that. But I'm very much a part of the team and the camaraderie, because how I want this team to be is like, I beat your ass, sucks to be you, but here's how I did it, right? So I want it to be competitively cooperative.
Yeah. And how do you ensure that happens? That you don't have a couple guys running out the front and trying to kick everyone back. So I beat you to it, but here's how I did it. Have you got any insights in how you've kind of created that culture of very competitive, but also very, we're in this together and we're all heading in the right direction. And then when we all win more.
That's because of those 2 daily meetings I do, and I force everyone to tell everyone else about their leads, and I make it very clear if anyone steals anyone else's lead, they're going to be gone. And so, but it makes it. Everyone who has a meeting coming up, anyone who's got a warm lead, anyone who's got a prospect coming up, they have to tell the whole group. And so, and they talk through it, and they say, this is how they got them, this is where we're at, this is where in the pipeline, where in the rapport we're at, and so all the sales guys know what everyone else is doing. And it's because I pay close attention, and I have meetings like twice a day with all the sales guys.
Yeah. So you're sitting with, not sitting on. Yes. That's an interesting kind of angle to take on it. Well, amazing, man. There's a lot of insight here, not only in terms of mindset and building that business, but just focusing on the sales team and that being the real engine room. It sounds like behind the growth, and then kind of just giving them what they need and figuring out ways to keep feeding them with these kind of incentive programs that you've mentioned as well. I'd imagine that you've got a pretty good eye on the data here. Is there a CRM that you prefer? Have you tried a few? Where have you landed in that in terms of keeping track of all these things?
My 2 favorite CRMs are Close CRM and Pipedrive, because my CRM so a lot of people want a CRM that can do the project management and the sales stuff really well. And that can be great. But what I found is, because we're very much tech focused, our dev team is using Agile and Scrum methodologies. And so the most CRMs use waterfall methodology for project management. And so it just doesn't work. And so the project management we use for dev is a software called Jira. And so the CRM that we're using for sales, the only thing that we need is sales. Yeah. And so I actually find that a much simplified version of a CRM. So like I said, Pipedrive and Close are much better for specifically only for sales than like HubSpot or Salesforce, which we've tried all of them. Right now, Pipedrive is what we're using, and it's what I recommend if your main focus is sales. If you want to do project management and stuff, Monday can be good. If you're smaller, Monday's good. I would say it goes Monday for the smallest, then HubSpot, then Salesforce. But if you're only doing it for sales, Pipedrive and Close are my 2 favorite CRMs.
Well, I appreciate that. That's go check them out. Great. Is there anything else that you want to throw into the mix here? Is there anything you feel like we should really dig into? There's an area of expertise that our listeners out there would really benefit from. Just want to give you a kind of open-ended space to explore something if you'd like to.
Well, yeah, I think there's one more thing that you have to be careful of building a sales team, is that that's only part of in fact, that's the smallest part of the equation as far as the total client journey, right? It's the shortest amount of time. And so if you build that engine, what you need to be careful of is that you have either the infrastructure in place to handle all the sales that will come, or the ability to scale quickly. And so when I had this, I had 3 other offices on the same floor. So I had the room to scale immediately. And I also had a bunch of applications to work here. And so I knew that if I built the sales team, that I could, that I had the engine behind me to actually dev the products and fulfill those guarantees, right? And so it's important you do that. The other thing is the handoff. So you need project managers. So that way when you go from the sales team, because a lot of companies will have the sales guy throughout the entire client journey in the organization, and that's good, but it takes away from what the sales guys are good at. And so the reason they do that is because sometimes the handoff gets really ugly. In that the sales guy is trying to do what the project manager is doing, and the project manager is telling the sales guys to get the hell out of here. And so having those clear boundaries and having a clear set of instructions that the project managers do as soon as the client is there, we send the onboarding email. We make sure that the client knows, hey, before the sale even goes through, we say, hey, just so you're aware, as soon as you purchase, you're going to get an email from your project manager as an onboarding email. They'll set up a time to meet with you, and they'll take you through the rest of the process from this point on. And then the sales guy only comes back when we're upselling or renewing things down the road.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I think nice to kind of have that bigger picture, your story, how you got to where you are, and then focusing into the sales and now zooming out into the kind of the bigger process as well. Well, thank you so much for your time. If people are interested in finding out more about you, where should they check you out?
Well, on Instagram, my handle is just the number 4 Kicks Create, just 4 Kicks Create. And, TrueZenithCreative.com is my business. And I'm on LinkedIn. It's pretty easy to find me. But yeah, just 4 Kicks Create is my Instagram if you want to follow me directly.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds like a great idea. I'll definitely be checking out some of your content and what you're up to. Be sure to check out True Zenith Creative. And it's been a wonderful opportunity to talk with you, Jack, and just wish you all the best. And to the next 26 employees. And I hope you're giving away 10 Teslas in 2023.
That would be amazing. Thank you, Josh.
Cheers there.
Thanks for listening to the Clear Brand Academy podcast, where we take the mystery out of marketing and help you get more leads and sales with a clear brand and proven marketing tactics. If you liked this podcast, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you'd like to outsource your marketing to our team, go to clearbrand.com.